Hello there, and welcome to another session on our Triton Masterclass. We're going to be working on the Triton today, and I'm going to be teaching you a little bit about quantization on the Triton. So, as usual, I'll flip the camera so that you can see what I'm up to on the actual board. It's not as bright, but I'll do my best to describe which button is which. Okay? So, as usual, we're going to sequence something on the Triton. I'll start it from scratch again so that you'll see there's no trickery. What you see is what you get. Okay. And I'm going to make a little tweak here. I am going to change the light in just a little bit so that you can see a little bit better. Just a bit better. That light, it kind of reflects in the screen, but it's important that you see some of what is over here, just so you know what I'm pressing. Okay, so let's jump into it, and I'll try my best to actually make this screen a little bit bigger so you'll be able to see what I'm doing here on the Triton. Alright, so Triton's on. We're going over to sequence, so press the sequence button right there. Alright, it goes over to sequence mode. I'm going to choose randomly some drums that we can use to program something in. So I'm going to choose some of my favorite kits. Track 2, I will choose a bass. Go with a Stein bass. And track 3, a nice EP, nice electric piano. That's not a bad one. That's good. Okay, so we've got all that out of the way. I'm going to Menu, and I'm going to Master Effects, and I'm just going to copy from one of the Master Effects on the KORG. This is a quick way of you getting some good effects in there. So I'm going to just copy just randomly from Tricky Kit, and let's just do that. Okay, so I've copied from Tricky Kit, and I've got a stereo decimator. That's not my idea. I actually would have preferred a compressor, so I'll go ahead and change it to a compressor. And next we're going to Menu and Insert Effects, and I'm just going to insert some of the effects minimally. That's the keyboard I want to hear. There we go. Bass doesn't need that much reverb. And the drums. Let's hear the drums. That's a lot of reverb. Let's get rid of some of that. It's a whole lot of reverb. I must have copied the did I copy the insert? No, I didn't. It sounds quite pronounced. It's a lot of reverb. Wow. So I need to tone that reverb down. Okay. So we've got something we can work with, okay? Now we've got our settings, at least to begin. The first step is to decide the tempo, right? So let's see. Now you can go with that, but I want something slower in the 90s, so I'm going to take it down a bit using this wheel. Okay, we're going to take it down a little bit. Something like that, 90. And there are two options when you want to quantize. You can quantize right off the bat. So for what I want to do, I've got an idea in my head. I am going to use the semi-quaver, which is that, or 16th notes if you will. I'm going to use that to quantize. That is going to work with what I need. But if I wanted a different kind of beat, you would have to experiment with getting the right one, and it can be a little bit tricky. There are times to quantize and there are times not to quantize. Alright, so let's get started. I'm going to set this to begin the work of the quantization right as I record, so I don't need to do anything once I'm done. I'm just going to record it like this, and it's going to quantize it for me. Alright, and I can loop if I want, 4 bars, just so I can lay on top of that if I need to. Alright, so here we go. Let's look for a nice snare. That will do. So a little bit aggressive. It's important I get my sounds exactly as I want them. Let's try that. That should work. Let's go. So it's getting there. Now you can tell as it's recording, it's doing the work of keeping everything on point. And that's the advantage of using this resolution as you record. Now if I had recorded without using it, I would have had to go to menu here, track edit, and then over there and quantize, and I would have had to quantize measures 1 to 4 for track 1, and I would have had to choose the resolution from here. So you could still do it after the fact, but I like sometimes just recording it right off the bat like that. Alright, let's go to track 2. Reverb here is bananas. Let's get it down a little bit. Alright, here we go with our bass track. Again, you have the option of quantizing right off the bat, but in this case I'm deliberately going to make some mistakes, and I'm going to show you what happens when you quantize it. Alright, so I'm going to play a little bit behind the beat, and you see how that works. So you can see it's off. Alright, now to correct that, I'm going to menu, track edit, hit that drop down there. You want quantize, and you want it to be on that 16th note, because that's what I've found to be the best for hip hop, rap. Neo soul is a little bit tricky. If your neo soul has behind the beat or ahead of the beat kind of playing, this won't work. Quantize may not work for you. But if you're doing very metered stuff on most rap or hip hop or R&B or even like some rock, you'll be able to use most of those with 16th or 8th, or 32s are a little bit tricky, but I found this to be the sweet spot for most of those genres on this keyboard. Alright, so I'm going to hit OK, and let's hear what happens now. So even though I've quantized it, you can still hear some of the character playing, but not completely off beat. Now let's go to menu and track edit, and let's be more aggressive with our quantization. Let's just use a quaver. So we're going to use a quaver. OK, and let's see what happens. Here we go. So the locate button takes you back to 0. Let's go. So you hear it's a lot more correct. Okay, now I'm going to do that track one more time, because I was just fooling with that one just to show you what it would be like. Now let's do a better bass track on that one. So I'm going to quantize this, and I'm going to play what I typically would have on G minor. Now we've got one more track to play, and it's the keyboards. So I'm going to beef up the reverb on this a little bit, put a little bit more compression. Okay. So again, I'll do it without quantize, try and mess it around a little bit, and then you'll be able to tell the difference. Okay, here we go. I'll be very sloppy in the playing. Alright, so this is how it sounds. So that's how it sounds without quantize. Let's go to menu, drag edit, and quantize, and let's use, yeah, that's a very aggressive one. Let's use a quaver, and off we go. And let's listen. Locate, back to 0. So it sounds a lot better, doesn't it? Alright, now that we've messed around with that a little bit, let's go to the real track and locate, and let's go. G minor, here we go. I'm gonna have trouble with that sprinkle. That will not quantize. You see, stuff like this doesn't quantize as good. That would not quantize as well. So there's sometimes you gotta leave it alone. So let's listen. You hear that didn't quantize so well. So what I would do in such an instance is I would quantize just those bars where I didn't do anything fancy. So for example, let's do that again. Okay, here we go. So I would do everything from 1 to about 4. So I'd go to menu, track edit, and then go to quantize, and I would do everything from about 1 to measure. Actually, 1 to measure, let's back up a little bit. So I'd do it up to around here, and it would just get, if I use a semi-quaver, it would just get the other bits, but not the fancy part. So let's listen to it now. It's quantized. Oh, I missed it. So I'm going to show you how to undo that. So we do it again. I'm going to hit compare. When you hit compare, it's like the undo button, right? So let's hear it again. It's gone back to normal. You'll hear that last sprinkle. You hear that? So that, I want that to remain, so I need to go to menu, track edit, and then quantize. And just quantize up to measure 3. I should be okay. And just okay it. I'm fine with that. And now we can listen back. There you go. So that's it. That's how you quantize, my friend. So let's loop that and could play other things on top of it. Whether you quantize those is subjective, depends on what you're doing. Strings is one of the worst to quantize, especially if it doesn't have a high attack. Like these would be okay, like this. That would not be a problem to quantize. Actually, let's play with that a little bit, especially the higher octaves. There you have it. There you go, just like that. And let's go ahead and let's copy that real quick. Let's copy measures 1 to 4, all tracks. Oh, all tracks. Let's do that again. Copy measure 1 to 4 and move that to measure 5. Okay, so now we got this up to 5. Let's put something else in just to demo this good old standard kit. So one of the good things you could do with the Triton is put in some really good fill. Put in some really good fills. Oh, my microphone's going weird. Put in some good fills there. And you can actually quantize them as well. So here we go. Just like that. Just like that. So the more percussive the instrument, the more you'll be able to quantize if you need to. Just beware you don't overdo it, that it sounds so mechanical. You still want, you know, some live feel. And it doesn't have to be every instrument, but since we're doing quantization, well, we might as well show a few. So let's do some percussion, and we'll call it a day. Should have looped it to track 8 because it goes all the way there. So here we go. Let's listen. Put some EQ on that percussion. Now there's a way around it. Since we only did the first 4 bars of the percussion, we could go to loop over here, go to where we have the percussion, and just loop measures 1 to 4, and that's it. You got that looped, all 8 bars, because we didn't do that for 8. We only did it for 4. One of the things I like about the Triton is you could just bring stuff in and use it, you know what I mean, and mute, unmute while you're sequencing. you have it, my friends. Well, I hope it made absolute sense. That's how it's done, my friends. Alright, sequence done. Let's go ahead and let's rename the song, and let's just call it Demo Jam. And that beeping, you know, you can actually turn that off if you don't want it on the Triton. There's a way to do that in the global settings. Demo Jam, go to your disk. Got a disk in there. Hopefully it's got enough memory. Does it? Might not. Let's see. Save it. Save sequence. Save sequence to Demo Jam. Say OK. If there's enough space, it will save. If there's not enough space, it'll tell you. And you can always put in a new disk. Well, that's it, my friends. It looks like our job for today is done. I hope you found that to be helpful. I hope you found it to be useful. Don't forget to help out by hitting like and subscribe. And when we've got new videos, you'll know about it. All right? You take care. I hope you found it useful. Bye for now.